All right, here we are in the doctor's office.
Up on the housetop, reindeer paws. Out jumps good old Santa Claus. Down through the chimney with lots of toys. All for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the, up on the, up on the, up on the,
So, all right, we're back. It's been a little bit. We had some things on the docket. We had the Tom Ferry event, which was a huge success. We had almost 1,000 pairs of sneakers donated. So we had a lot on the docket. So we put this on the back burner a little bit, but we are back. And I thought, what better way to christen the Christmas set than bringing in 3 others that have shared the podcast with me before, but we actually all have something else in common, which is we all were awarded something at our Christmas party on Saturday. So congratulations to all of you guys. Yay. Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it. So I myself was the recipient of the Above and Beyond Award, which is very generous. Thank you very much, DJ&Lindsey. But I would not be where I am without obviously the 2 of you, but this crew here and the agents, because obviously the agents allow myself and my team to do what we get to do every day, which is like my dream, which is just create content, tell a story, etc. So let's start at Travis's end of, so you won the Leading by Example Award. You, I would love to talk about this, have gone through a personal transformation of like, you've lost a ton of weight, you're addicted to working out. Kind of like give us a little insight on that, like kind of what, how did you reprogram your head to like get around that?
It's kind of funny because it kind of started here. We all started talking about like our morning routines and what we do with our time and like how important time is and what you do with every second of every day. And we were doing book clubs, stuff like that. And it just got me thinking that I'm like, I am wasting a ton of time. I have goals that I'd like to meet, and I keep saying, oh, next month, next year, like, oh, the new year's coming up, new year, new me type thing. And so back in March, I just kind of was like, no, I need to do it now. I started going to Cycle Bar right over here, and I just had to become obsessed with it. Kind of like anything in life, if you're really going to be really good at it, you've got to become obsessed. You got to make it part of your lifestyle, not just something you do on every couple days or every couple weeks or whatever. You make it part of everything you're doing. You talk about it with all the people around you, you know, you share it on social media, that kind of stuff. And it's just like anything in your life. Like if you want it to be successful, you've got to go all in and immerse yourself, which is a lot of like what we do here. This is not a job for us. This is our lifestyle.
Right.
Even us as admins behind the scenes and everything, I mean, we make it our lifestyle. We're always involved doing things outside of the office together. And I kind of just took that atmosphere and actually took it home and put it into my personal life.
Right. I think it's huge because everybody always tries to, they have great intentions, right? Or they're like, oh, and they're like, oh, that's my goal. And then they'll just come up with the reason as to why they didn't reach the goal instead of what they did to try and reach the goal. And then be like, okay, this is why that might be unattainable or super hard, etc. Which leads us into Ashley's award, which is the Everyday Hero Award, which is like, if you do things you're supposed to do every single day, those goals and that attitude will actually transpire and you'll start to see the goal of that. So Ashley won the Everyday Hero Award is because you essentially run alongside Travis every little bit of system that we have in place here, which Marcus will speak on to later. But I mean, first of all, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you both. Every day.
Thank you both. But kind of talk about like why, obviously you are deserving, so you don't need to say why you are deserving, but kind of, you know, the things you do that you maybe agents might not realize happen and how important they are. Like,
absolutely. Like, Marcus obviously can attest to, I'm pretty sure he asked me a question every day.
Every day. Yeah.
Every day.
Same. Both.
Which is fine. I absolutely love it. It means I get to, you know, talk to Marcus every day.
Right.
But a lot of behind the scenes things, making sure things are connected. Like there's a lot of bells and whistles and what have yous to your Zillow and your Boomtown, and just making sure the connection is working every day.
Right. For sure.
If the connection breaks for one day,
it could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a whole meltdown.
Yeah, I was going to say that means no new active buyers or sellers popping into your system saying, you know, raising their hand saying, hey, Marcus, you know, so Ashley is managing those things, even down to helping agents kind of file their own LLC, which is very important, keeping them up to date and abreast of things that are happening with boards. Hey, are you up to date on this? Have you paid this?
Actually, NEFAR board dues are due.
So. There we go. So, but just another reason as to why I think the value and the the culture and the family style culture that we have here is such that you could go to Marcus and almost nag on him like a brother and be like, hey dude, you didn't do that.
Absolutely.
And he's like, you're right, I totally didn't.
Right.
Which happened before. I mean, you were talking about he needed to sign something that was, and he came up and he's like, so I don't understand this. Can you just tell me what I need to do? Because I just don't. And then you had to go into it and be like, hey, this is why you need to do this, or, your license, this, that, and the other. So I think that's super important and awesome that we were able to recognize that. I thought normally we just do, highest sale, most volume, things like that, like any other sales, company would do. But I think it was awesome that we had additional awards this year that kind of honored those that do all of the things so that agents can be successful.
Absolutely.
Which brings us around to our boy Marcus, who won the Be Kind Award, who has probably the most intangible talent that I think anyone can have, and it's just a matter of attitude, and that was the Be Kind Award.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk us a little bit through about the Be Kind Award. Did you expect to win it? How do you approach it every single day so that something like the Be Kind Award is not really that shock to you?
I didn't expect to win it at all. When they called my name, it was like, did they mean to call someone else? I can think of like 10 other people that's more deserving of the award. So it's an honor first. So thank you all for voting. And for me, it's just I know where I came from. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, wanting to go back to that, it's a privilege and an honor to be able to work with people like you every day and be able to just have the right attitude coming in, and you guys make it easy, but it also starts at home. If my fiance didn't get me up in the morning and have that coffee ready, I'd be a different beast coming in.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean? So it's all a work in progress and just trying to be a better person every day. And I guess the work that I've put in kind of showed, and it really meant a lot to win an award like that.
I think to add to that, the Be Kind Award is actually voted on by everybody.
Yeah, so that's one thing to mention is that is actually the only award that is kind of a variable, i.e. that, everybody in the entire company vote, for it. They submit their entry on a form that Olivia, thank you, Olivia, also.
Thank you.
Curates. But yeah, so I mean that's literally the voice of the company, and I think that's super, super, super important. That and speaks volumes because everybody is, oh my gosh, they're so nice, they're so nice, they're so nice. But at the end of the day, you are someone who says good morning when you walk in the office, goodbye when you leave. You'll seek us out if you don't physically just walk by and be like, oh, he's not at his desk. I literally have been like upside down in this very studio trying to hang something. And Marcus is like, all right, everybody have a great day. Keep it going. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, Marcus. All right. Because it's not just a, hey, if I see them kind of situation. It is a muscle that kind of needs to be worked out. Mm-hmm. And if you are constantly negative, it's going to be really hard to then be the most positive person, the biggest cheerleader rather in your company.
Absolutely.
So I think that's huge. But getting back to the work that the right side of the studio does.
The best side?
The best side of the studio. Because I want to hear your opinion on it too. You're like, oh, Marcus has a question for me every day. Marcus, and because he said it too, even on the last podcast we did, he's like, I probably ask Travis at least 3 to 5 questions a day.
Yeah.
But like from the agent side, and we'll come back because I want to talk to them first, but I want you to think about it. Give us like just a good question you would go to Travis with. That's not very either case by case basis or something that another agent outside of here would probably have a similar question and then be like, man, if I could just get somebody on the phone or if I had somebody to call, because I feel like that we hear that a lot. You do all the onboards. We've just recently onboarded a ton of agents, a lot of really great people. And they kind of all have the same shock, which is like, wow, I can get this question or this problem solved very quickly by contacting one of my leaders.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about something as we kind of talk about them. But so moving towards the Leading by Example and Everyday Hero Award, agents need things done yesterday. How, as a leader, how do you kind of compartmentalize those things and then understand, okay, how can I help this person to the best I can to where you're like, okay, this is above me and I need to get other people involved?
Yeah. I would say the first thing is that like all of our agents and employees, they always come first. So whatever we're working on, and you know, Marcus can attest to this, when he walks up to me, one thing I love is the first thing he says is, "How's your day?" Then he says, "I have a problem." And you know, whatever we're doing, that goes on pause, because obviously whatever they're dealing with that's out in the field, it might need help with one of our customers, might need help with another agent. They need help with something that has to be handled, like you said yesterday. And I think our entire leadership and admin staff is very much like that. I mean, all of us will drop anything at any time and immediately take care of whatever your issue is. I mean, we always have a leader on duty, 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And it's because of that. We know that the market and the customers, they demand it. And so you guys have to then demand it from us. And I know Ashley's been, you know, at dinner at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and she's like, "Let me grab my laptop." And, you know, we've been out to dinner together before, and we're both like, "Oh, okay, let's go, let's grab this."
Right.
And it's not to say that, you know, that's okay, because like I said, we make this a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we would do that for any of our agents. We want to do that because obviously we live vicariously through you. You guys are out there in the field doing all these things, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys.
Right.
So it's kind of like a give and take. And
yeah, but I think it's very important that you say that, because that exactly leads back to what I was talking about. Is like this family style culture, right? You would drop anything to do something for a family member if they needed it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we all view these agents, and even just within ourselves, is that we're all a part of like one big family. You know, I mean, we had an agent drop a super long message in the group just talking about how they couldn't get a hold of anybody from where they last were. You know, like they would always be looking for like help or a mentor or any kind of situation that maybe they were sold on. And then it kind of never happened, even though she had those issues. I mean, she was literally like, I couldn't find somebody to help me. I was literally reached out to everybody, and it wouldn't happen, which leads me to my next question for you. Is someone who's been somewhere else and has seen the complete organization of everything. The systems help value that our agents get here. What do you think, and this is going to be like a speculative percentage, but like, let's just do, instead of percentage, 1 to 10.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, if we are a 10, where else would any other brokerage, the systems, information, everything else we provide, where would that fall in a, right?
really putting her on the spot.
Well, I only say that because when we had this Tom Ferry event, that is the one thing that I heard time and time again, is the amount of work that we do to support our agents.
Absolutely.
Is like, you literally can't find it anywhere else.
It's insane.
Yeah. And we start to see other people.
It doesn't.
Right. Well, that's kind of was my point. It's very much a leading question. I'm sure Johnny Depp's lawyer would have called me out on it, that it was a leading question. But that's what I kept hearing. And of course, me, Matt, JoJo, and even you guys were running around like, you know, chickens with their head cut off. But that was kind of the narrative that I kept hearing. And I kept hearing them talking with our agents and bumping elbows with our agents and kind of being able to like open up this story and this dialogue of like, what's it really like to work there? And I think social media is like a huge reflection of that, right? We're just trying to create this looking glass, this lens. But I mean, did you kind of hear that at the check-in table, like when people were talking?
So not necessarily at the check-in table, but in my everyday, during onboards, I have bring people on from other things. And on the very first day, automatically they're like, oh God, this is different. This is
right.
I'm like, you mean I can call you in like 20 minutes? I'm like, you can call me as many times as you want during the day.
Right, exactly. And I think it shocks
automatically people. They're like, oh wow, this is because, you know, during onboarding is a lot. There's a lot on the very first day, connecting, signing in, what have you. And they're like, I would never be able to do this by myself. And I'm like, I don't want you to do it by yourself.
Right. Well, that's what is crazy, is like, those are the essentials to business. I mean, most people haven't really heard of or even know how to use a CRM. Yeah. Most people don't even know what CRM stands for. But does anyone know what CRM stands for? I'm not putting anybody on the spot.
Customer Relations Manager.
There you go. Customer Relations Manager. So basically it is, which Tom Ferry's screaming to call your database, that's your database. Yeah. It's literally your digital black book, your ledger. And then inside of each of those people, there should be notes, who they are, how many kids they have, right? Like if they have 2 left feet, can they sing, can they not, right? Like all these things, so that when you know you're handling this high volume of people, you know when you go to that person, you can quickly be, oh yes, I know Ashley, right? She's got a son, blah, 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 this and that. She's looking for a 3-2 on the west side. Whatever it is, you should know those things versus like, I'm sorry, who is this again?
Exactly.
Like, right? Like, and so how does that kind of help you navigate and understand the volume? Because Holly talked about it. The sheer volume that happens through here is baffling, especially someone who came from somewhere else, another fairly successful brokerage. How does that help you manage? I mean, like realistically, like, do you think you would be able to handle your business without the systems, infrastructure, and personnel that are here?
No. It actually helps us sell more,
Right.
Being able to have that flow, because people want to feel like they're known, so having the ability to call them and say, hey, John, just wanted to check in and see how everything went. I know that you had an appointment over the weekend, a hospital appointment. Just wanted to check back and see how you were feeling. A lot of the times it doesn't always have to be about real estate.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to call and check in on them. And, having that CRM in place to be able to have those details really help be able to build those relationships that we need to make those sales.
Right. Shout out Boomtown. Thank you also sponsoring
Yeah.
the Tom Ferry event. That was huge. Thank you very much. But again, all those things get built, get monitored, get done from the best side of the couch.
Absolutely.
Over there. So we had our Christmas party, shifting gears. We had our Christmas party on Saturday, which was wild. It was awesome. Everyone here was in this room was there. Do we have a favorite part? I'm going to go around the horn. Like, favorite part of the Christmas party?
Dance floor for sure.
Dance floor for sure.
Floor, yeah.
Winning my award.
Winning.
Yes.
Okay. Selfish, but a good selfish. Selfish. What about you?
Probably the same. Winning the award, very surprising. It definitely caught me off guard. I really felt the love in it. So that was probably
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, something to remember.
I definitely, not to devalue this, but yes, this was like a huge shock to me, given I was taking the photos of people who were winning. So shout out to Matt who jumped in, who was also holding the flash so that I could take these properly. Was then trying to navigate this by holding the flash because we didn't have a speed light. But my favorite part was we had South Florida, Jacksonville, and St. Augustine offices, which also we'll get to in a minute. Shout out, we just opened a second office in South Florida, but we had all three of our locations there, and it all appeared as if we all worked together every single day, like we were in the same building.
Yeah, it really
was
did.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the South Florida agents, it's been a while since I had been down there physically. So like I talked to them on Zoom or through phone calls or through texting, like every single day. And it was so funny to finally face the name. I'm like, you're taller than I expected.
Yeah.
Right, which was the big Zach McCarthy. Everybody gave Zach McCarthy,
Yes.
like, did not picture this guy being as big as he is. He's a big tree, that kid.
I had never met any of them in person, so I've only ever contacted Zoom, Google Meets,
But
text
it's like
messaging,
you've
phone
known
call.
them forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Ariel
Right.
actually put it the best way of like online dating. Like, you talk to them all the time and you know these people, and we finally meet, and I'm like, oh my God, I love her.
Right, exactly. But that was my favorite part, on top of having the 360 video booth there,
Yes.
having the photo booth there, which thank you for helping us set that up.
Of course.
It seemed as though we worked together in the same building every day, and the same way a family operates, where like you won't you're rolling your eyes because so-and-so did this again. Right. It's like we were excited to see them, even though for the most part we honestly do see a lot of those people every day.
Yeah.
But you've seen them on Zoom, you talk to them every day. They sometimes have hiccups, headaches, etc. But then at the end of the day, it's just like it was so good to just be able to like see them, give hugs. But it's like, oh my gosh, like it's so great to finally meet you, see you in person. Yeah. That was to me my favorite part, because it really reaffirmed, I guess, reassured my thought and the emotion of that this is a family kind of vibe.
For sure. Even
So
from hundreds of miles away.
Yeah.
Right, from 100 miles away. So with that, we did open a second brokerage in South Florida. Office. Sorry, not brokerage. Office. In South Florida. We are now in Delray and in Coral Springs.
Yeah, we're stoked about it too.
Yes.
Got some great agents we just brought on, a really good group of people. They're just going to add to all the amazing people that are already here. We're excited about that.
We have 2 more this week.
Yeah, 2 more this week. I think you just brought on another 3 this morning locally here.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a great transition into the market's condition. The market has changed, and I think other agents elsewhere who were seeing that volume during the COVID market and thereafter are now starting to see maybe a drop off and are like, wait, but that was really good money. How do I keep making that? And they're like, well, that company has all the customers and that company has all the support. So how do I get in on that? And I think our growth advisors too are hearing that conversation a lot, which brings me back up to the Tom Ferry thing. Is I just kept hearing that at the Tom Ferry event, which again, I don't rarely know other agents outside of this brokerage because I'm very much behind the scenes situation. But I just kept hearing that, and that's what I'm starting to physically see that kind of manifesting. I mean, do you hear that from your talking to other listing agents, buyers agents, on some of your listings on, hey man, how are things going over? Like how is it happening over there? So
yeah, actually quite a bit. They sneak that in. They want to know. Everyone wants to know what's going on here. Right. It's very apparent that we're successful. So. If you get on the other end with the phone and you're talking to another agent from another brokerage, either at the beginning or the end, they're always asking like, hey, so, how's it really over there? They always want to know that.
Yeah, always.
It's a good time to shed light on, what we're actually doing and the great things that they see. And we just reassure them by making sure that it's a smooth deal, by at the end of it that we held our end of the bargain and that we did what we said we're going to do and we're at the closing table.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's your relationship with your transaction coordinator too, is such that you trust and know that they're going to handle it with the same decorum, the same type of energy, speed.
We got some beast in that room.
Yeah. That room, the other side of this wall, we've said plenty of times, the other side of this wall is crazy. It's like the nucleus. I was speaking to a former baseball coach of mine who actually lives in St. Augustine, and he asked me specifically about a property, and I was like, I'll look into it for you because he saw our sign in the yard. And I looked into it, and then he's like, what's the deal? Someone completely out of real estate is like, so what's the deal over there? You guys just like, is it just like high energy, or you're just so big you can't really fail? I'm like, I don't really know how to put it. It's like a baseball team or a football team that always knows the goal is to win, but the game is never like all right, here's this game, here's the next game. The game is just constant. It's ongoing, right? It's your deal. It's somebody else all the time. He's like, so it's like Wolf of Wall Street. I go, that would be a pretty good analogy for like lack of there's no like rampant drug use in the office. But like as far as like the energy
up on caffeine maybe.
Right, but I'm like as far as like the energy and just like the craziness of like everyone is like just in competition with not each other but themselves, which then in turn puts them in competition the same way you would be in like this friendly brotherly competition, right? You're always like in competition with your brothers or sisters or siblings. I go, it's kind of like that. I mean, like, we're not like throwing people across the room at a target. But when you walk into the office, you do get that sense of like
you get the
energy. Yeah, you get the bell, that energy, that empowerment. And to expand on this is I had Jonathan, who's actually kind of recruited his own girlfriend to come work here. Wrote a blog post of his first day here because he was like, I want to intern here. I see you guys on social media. I see what you guys do. I want that. I want to learn from that. I'm doing this at UNF. Great. Comes in and he writes his first day blog post. I'm like, I want your take on like being here. Wrote it, and when I posted to the Instagram story, it spiked because the views were up, the clicks were up, the engagement was up because everybody wanted to know what it was like inside the four walls. Well, spoiler alert, 2 weeks later, his girlfriend is onboarding with you because she also read it and was like, I want to go
She
there.
also didn't say who she was, which I absolutely love.
Well, but that was,
right in.
Exactly, because she said she wanted to make sure that it was a good fit. She already thought it was from what he had spoken about, but also wanted to hear our side of the story. Basically, it's like silent shopping. It's like secret shopping, I guess, what they do in some restaurants. That's kind of what she was doing and was like, this is literally the place for me.
Yeah.
And that's just the type of people that come here, though. Like, she wanted to pay for her own way and not be like, oh, I know someone to get in there. Like, that's the people that come here. They want to work hard. They want to better their lives. And, to go against the whole, like, competing. Yeah, you might be competing. You actually might be competing with someone in that room for like the same property.
Right.
But the coolest thing is at the end of the day, everyone else in the room is still going to cheer for you. Everyone at the end of the day is still going to be excited when you win, even if they didn't.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the difference is there's people like that here.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as that bell starts going off, it doesn't matter.
Everybody
if it was
jumps up.
yes or not. Everybody jumps up, starts cheering.
Yeah. Healthy competition.
Yeah. But healthy competition that is success begets success, right? Like that's the point, is that like if other people are successful and you're sitting amongst them and you're a part of that environment. I mean, I just posted on social media a clip that Lindsey spoke about on stage at the Tom Ferry Summit in Dallas in August, which was somebody asked from huge shout out from Fargo, North Dakota. She she was great. She had an accent though. But she said if there was one thing you could kind of give advice to yourself getting into this game of real estate, what would it be? And of course she's probably like, I would have done this, or I would have gotten bigger signs, or like thinking it's going to be a physical, tangible thing. And Lindsey's response was that who you surround yourself with is going to be the biggest thing that no one will tell you, and that I had to figure out, meaning her, that's going to be bigger than anything that you physically have, right?
Absolutely.
Any of the nutrients you feed your plant is that if you plant something in sand and we know it can't survive in sand, but you keep giving it nutrients and watering it and it's still not growing, it's because it's in the wrong environment.
Right.
She said it might not be that same circle you grew up with. Sure, they might be your old friends and want the best for you, but if every day you're talking to your buddy who still lives in his hometown and just talks about how much it sucks and daily life there sucks, like that's eventually going to rub off on you. So if you're inside the four walls of this company, figuratively, that's what I think is going to give those people who come here and want those things the best chance of survival and growth. Not even survival, mostly growth.
Yeah.
It is because of that. Circling back, have you thought of a good question?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah. So, I went to him this morning, actually. And Travis is great with this. It doesn't matter. It could be right in the middle of him putting out 4 other fires, and I can come to him and be like, hey, Travis, there's a situation with this buyer or the seller. We're having issues with them continuing to back out of the contract. And one thing that I try to keep in mind now is don't panic, because we do have people like this on the other end, and just as they say, they wouldn't be able to do what they do without us. We wouldn't be able to do half of what we do if it wasn't for them. And they give us the ideas to be able to go back and arm ourselves with the proper details to get the deal back on track, as we say. But the question was, the seller continues to back out. What are we able to do to make sure that this doesn't happen? It's the second time that they backed out. We want to keep the deal on track. What should we do here? And one of the things that he mentioned was putting a contingency offer, and having them put funds in escrow so that they have some skin in the game. If they are to back out again, then, they're going to owe some money. And those are things that you don't necessarily think of on the fly, but they've done thousands of deals to where they have the experience to where something that might seem so big to me, like I'm freaking out and panicking, it's just like, oh, you just do this.
Right.
Which I can appreciate it. It brings a level of calmness when you're able to go to them and ask those kind of questions.
Right. I think that's huge, especially because you're super emotionally attached to probably the buyers and the property and making it happen. So somebody who has this outside perspective, who really knows nothing about Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, but just the deal, and saying, hey, Marcus, this is the best chance for this to get done. And I think this is a great thing to wrap up with, is you talked about having skin in the game, which I think we are vastly different from any other brokerage, where we take $0 up front from an agent looking to better their own life, and that they only basically pay it forward after they get paid, which is at the end. Coming from somewhere else, ish. How weird is that? And how not normal is that?
It's wild.
100%. Yeah. And I feel like it's the wanting to help. Like all of us are wanting to help you succeed. We want to see the next thing and know oh, okay, well, this is how you do it. I'm not really going to explain any of it though.
Right.
Did you Google it?
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. I think that's a big thing, because everybody wants to be a wantrepreneur, or wants to be a millionaire, or wants, the goals that they want. But a lot of times the first hurdle is money, right? Like, I want a private jet, but they don't just give it to you because I'm like, well, I'm going to work really hard and then use it. They'll be like, yeah, that's cool. We just want money for it. Like, we don't ask that, right? We don't ask for hey, well, you have to have kind of money to do stuff. It's no different from any money you would need going anywhere else. Paying your boards, doing whatever the things you need to actually transact in real estate is the only upfront continuing cost that you need in order to join here. In order to be successful here, that's on you.
Yeah.
You got to do things, all the things.
That's on
things.
We're going to give you a breakdown. We're going to give you literally like, here's a puzzle. The only missing piece is you.
Right.
And you it's all in your control after that.
Right.
And that's what I love. You know, the fact that you really lay it out for us. This is what you need to do this to get that. You know, and it really is on us to be able to be successful. And it's proven time and time again, if you do all the things, you will be successful here.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the biggest message, is that family oriented and everybody wants you to succeed here, and the only thing that you need is a good attitude and the willingness to work and work hard. And that's the only thing holding anyone back from being successful here. That's not to say in real estate, because if you're somewhere else, you are probably going to need funds to do whatever it is you're going to do, how are you going to do your marketing, all this other stuff. You'll definitely need funds. But here you need just a willingness to work your tail off and reach your own goals and your full potential. That's the only thing stopping anybody from being successful here. I think it's huge. So thank you all. Congratulations to all three of you.
Thank
you.
Yes, thank you. We obviously, we love all you guys. None of this could happen without all these pieces to the puzzle, right? So thank you again. As we wrap up, this podcast, as everyone knows, because they've been here before, is sponsored by Audible. Audible is a great way for you to listen to books instead of read them, because you're in the car showings, you're managing all these agents, you're looking into our systems, making sure all this stuff works flawlessly. So you can get our referral link at tryaudible.com/DJ&Lindsey. It's also sponsored by something else I can't remember now, Grammarly, but you'll have to ask our director of admin on what you get for that. But I do know that we are also sponsored by Grammarly. Ashley has hooked that up, so thank you again. So guys, thank you. Here's to 2023.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be a great year.
All right, we'll see you.
All right. Take care.